Hello.
Hello, here we are for the
Greetings.
fifth time.
Yes, we're
How are
over
you
that
feeling?
halfway mark. I'm feeling okay. I have a little bit of a flu or something going on this week, so you might hear a Phoebe sexy phlegm voice. I might speak like this for the whole time. I won't. Don't
I,
worry.
I I think it fits the theme today.
It's the yeah. It's the mood. Otherwise I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've had a birthday since we were last chatting.
Yes, I did.
Yes, happy
Guilty.
birthday. Brand new
Thank
trip
you.
around the sun.
Yeah.
That's
Give us in the
exciting.
comments how old you guys think I am.
Oh, dangerous. You're playing a dangerous game.
Actually, I just want some engagement under the video. And they
She'd
say
do
like
anything
asking
for
they
for
they
some
say asking
engagement.
controversial questions makes the engagement so that yeah.
I see. Okay. Clearly you're the marketing buff here or the See, I don't even have the words. I don't even know what it is.
Yeah.
Market's not marketing. Whatever.
Wanna be one, yeah.
Want to be. Well, you're all very welcome, whoever is here joining us again this week. Thanks so much for being here. Um, for the fifth time, we are chatting about a song from our upcoming album, the Witches, Bitches, and Goddesses project. And today we're talking about Wound.
Wound number
Wound.
5.
Yes. So shall we play it and then we'll have a chat?
Yes.
That's our form. That's our form.
Okay. Just a second. I rewind the thing.
This makes me want to dance, this one. Makes me want to be like mm, mm, mm.
From the shine of the moon, I turn away my face. I feel the light on my back while my shadow offers me embrace. I feel tempted to run into light, as I did many times before. But as it gets strong and bright, so does my shadow grow. Although I'm scared, the shadow's lure is strong. With raspy voice, poignant song, a message waits to be told. You surrendered your wildness, being tamed. I was exiled. Without my gifts, you can't grow. You need me to be revived. It's time to face the wound, to hear what she has to say. She came here for a reason, saying she knows the way to heal myself, to own my gifts, to become who I was meant to be, to relinquish the pain, grief and hurt, my lovely wound. We are free.
Welcome to the table I've reserved. You see, I wanted us together so we could finally meet.
I used to be afraid of you, so I had no seat to say. The light shone on the table side, I cast you in the shade. I used to be afraid of you, so I had no seat to say. The light shone on the table side, I cast you in the shade.
I used to starve you, let you wilt until your powers fade. But as you die, so feast upon each other to know that we are one.
In my embrace, sweet darling, and by our table mates, I see you and I feel you. Take your rightful place. In my embrace, sweet darling, and by our table mates, I see you and I feel you. Take your rightful place.
I see you now as beauty from my open heart. When I surrender to the whole I own me and every part.
All right. I was just remembering right at the end with the choir part of all of the grief we had with that part between the two times. It will probably become more apparent next week when we listen to the next song, but this is kind of a segue point, and that was always an interesting part to try and navigate.
Yeah, this one really gave us hard time
I
in
did.
the mix process. Oh my God,
Mhm.
it wounded.
It wounded
We were
us.
not before.
Yeah, true. Well, that was nice to listen to that actually. I feel like it's our first bop on the album, I think.
Yeah,
Gets
yeah.
you wanting to move.
Yeah, let's dance with our shadows.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so a lot of lyrics in this one.
Yeah. Yeah. We have yeah, kind of different sections. Maybe I think you wrote the first part, the part that you're kind of narrating, so maybe you could walk us through that.
Yeah, so already that for me it's a very vulnerable point, as I'm not really a songwriter in the
Mm-hmm.
sense of, yeah, lyrics writer. Um, so this project was really pushing me out of my comfort zone, and
Mm-hmm.
especially doing that in English. But
Yeah.
in a way, I think it would be even harder to do it in my language because it would feel even more revealing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um,
Well, that's
again,
amazing. Like, yeah, good for you for embracing that challenge, you know.
yeah, I can say I still feel a little bit of like
Yeah.
people are gonna hear what I wrote. Oh my God.
I know. I have the exact same feeling. Don't worry. You're not alone.
um, but yeah, I think I did decent job, I would say. I if I'm completely honest, I do feel that difference where it's more of your lyrics. I really feel like, oh yeah, okay, that's good lyrics, and then I still perceive my parts as a bit like more attempts to lyrics, and I know it's also a lot of this subjective moment there, of course,
Mm-hmm.
but it's also objective in the sense I don't have that much experience in it, and
Mm-hmm.
I haven't done it for that long, or tried or wrote that many songs, so it makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, it was also part of the process to dive into this vulnerability and just try out things and reveal yourself, even if it's not perfect, even if it's
Mm-hmm.
not, because yeah, I think that was also one of my wounds,
Mm-hmm.
hiding behind instrumental music for
decades,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
feeling really safe when I write instrumental piece, because then it's up to the interpreter, up to the
Sure.
listener.
Yeah,
Whatever
yeah.
I said, it actually stays very enigmatic. Where here it's like, okay, it's black on white.
Yeah. Yeah. It's vulnerable.
uh,
It is a vulnerable thing to do. But I love that in this project we really kind of threw ourselves into like trying to stretch our comfort zones and see that for what it is and just kind of allow that to be what it is.
yeah,
And I think
yeah.
you did a great job, you know? Like,
Thank you.
yeah.
um, yeah, comparing to number three, creation and destruction, which felt actually very comfortable for me, as
Mm-hmm.
I'm used to free impro and experimental things. This
Mm-hmm.
one was on the whole scale was challenge for me, but okay, we add more about it later.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the lyrics, we start from the shine of the moon. I turn away my face. I feel the light on my back while my shadow offers me embrace. So we are starting the whole thing with this premise of, let's peek with our wound, let's meet our wound, let's and we are in a way also identifying, comparing the shadow to the wound, as when we do get wounded, a part of us gets suppressed, and there are a lot of these mechanisms of how can I prevent myself getting in this situation again, and which parts of myself I need to disown so people don't
Mm-hmm.
hurt me again. And then of course it becomes a shadow. So
Mm-hmm.
um, what do we do with that? And we are starting here with this process, and the aspect that we were mentioning before, where if you put a light on something, that's when the shadow is created. If we live in fog, then there is also no shadows, but also no light.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the first step is just to admit there is a shadow, to
Yeah.
see it, not
Mm-hmm.
and maybe like turn away towards it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, hello.
Yeah.
What's
What have
up?
you got for me? Yeah. You know, I have to mention this just because John has been with us every week in the chat on YouTube, and he gave this analogy to me one day about like cockroaches and how they just like scurry around in the dark, you know, but once you put a light on them, they just scatter and disappear. And
Mm.
that always stayed with me as this kind of this um yeah, just like a trigger to remember if there's something like niggling in the dark, niggling away, to just like look at it, like face it and see it for what it is. And usually it dissipates, you know. It only has strength because you're hiding it, because you're suppressing
Mm-hmm.
it. And actually that's where all the energy is going, is on the act of like suppressing it rather than on
Mm.
the thing itself. When you look at the thing, it's like, oh, I can figure that out, you know?
Yeah, and especially because these shadows, they want to be reintegrated. They want to be part of us and come to light.
Hmm.
It's not that we need to struggle to find them, or like
Yeah.
that. And that is why the energy is thrown away when we suppress them, because they just keep fighting and wanting to reemerge
Yeah.
and creating situations so they
Hmm.
can do that. And then
Yeah.
so, why is this happening to me again? Yeah, because life loves you and wants you to heal.
Hmm. What a beautiful way of putting that. Yeah.
So yeah, it is this kind of dialogue with, let's say, within myself, regarding my shadow, and kind of reframing how I see it, and how actually, yeah, facing it, experiencing it, feeling the feelings is what makes this integration happen,
Hmm.
and what then reveals, oh wow, this is the part of me that, yes, maybe in some aspects this characteristic can be negative, but also in which aspect can it be something positive
Hmm.
and can actually benefit me. So it is mine not to get rid of it, but just transform it and learn
Hmm.
how to use it.
Hmm. Nice.
um yeah, I just got the association of, um like, button on the computer program
where like if you don't know the functions of a program, it can feel like, oh, this program is messing with me, and
Yeah.
letters are always changing and this, but like the moment you learn, it serves you and it makes sense. And
Yeah. Yeah, totally. I love that.
yeah.
I love that analogy.
So yeah, at the end of the spoken part, we actually came to agreement to like, okay, I'm looking at my wound. These are my gifts. Welcome.
Mm-hmm.
This will liberate me, and then we go into the second part where
Cue me. Yeah. Okay. I have the lyrics here on my little sheet. This is from our live set. Not that I'm reading the words during our live set. So yeah, we start with welcome to the table. I've reserved you a seat. I wanted us together so we could finally meet. So yeah, exactly what you just mentioned there about like welcoming that part of ourselves to come and join the inner dialogue, the conversation, you know. And you know, this imagery, I have to say, came to me from, there's this great book called Insanely Gifted. It's like something like using your creative fuel, or using your creativity as rocket fuel. Oh, I can't remember. That's terrible. I'm going to put it in the comments. Anyway, it's called Insanely Gifted, and the writer is Jamie Caddo, and it's an amazing book. It's funny, but it's also going into creativity and also these, you know, what we're dealing with within ourselves. And he at some point mentions in the book like this. You know, we all have different parts of ourselves, or different. There's different versions of ourselves that we meet at different points, whether we engage with different people and present different sides of ourselves, or there's different splinter parts of ourselves that are part of the whole, right? Which we mentioned later. And he talks about this imagery of having everybody, all parts of yourselves sitting at the table and like having dialogue with each other, you know? And I loved that idea, you know, that like the inner child, the wounded inner child is sitting there with your together adult self, and you're having a conversation, and you're able to kind of converse with all of these kind of parts of yourself. So that's kind of where that imagery came from. So I used to be afraid of you, so I had no seat to save. The light shone on the table side and cast you in the shade. I used to starve you, let you wilt until your powers fade, but as you die, so do I. We're two parts of the whole. Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of self-explanatory, but again, yeah, just welcoming that wounded part and being ready to have a conversation and integrate whatever that is. Yeah, and then we close with, I see you now as beauty from my open heart. When I surrender to the whole, I own each and every part.
I love that sentence. That's so beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's nice. It's funny. I don't remember like writing these songs. You know? Do you ever have that moment? I think we touched a bit on that last week. We were like,
every time, yeah.
really? Where did that come from?
Yeah.
Yeah,
But that it's gold. It's gold.
it's called. I mean, yeah, it's coming to that perspective of just being open, right? Just being like allowance, and yeah, having the courage to face it regardless of what it looks like. And I think if we approach anything with an open heart, we're coming at it from the best perspective we can, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, I really like the imagery of everyone sitting at the table, and yeah, also having in mind that every aspect of ourselves, all of them actually want what's best for us. Like there is no really part of ourselves that is sabotaging us. And if we perceive it is sabotaging, again, it is just trying to protect us from something, maybe from the failure, maybe from being ridiculed, maybe from whatever. And it doesn't mean it still serves us. It did at one moment in time. Again, subjectively, not
Mm-hmm.
necessarily objectively. But for me, that really changed my attitude towards all the parts of myself and towards these shadows, recognizing they're not here to hurt me.
Mm-hmm.
They actually think they're doing what's good for everyone, and then it's a matter of like putting everyone on the table and like, hey, what's our common goal? What is the one thing we can all agree upon? And let's
Yeah.
start from there, and then let's
Mm-hmm.
see how can we manage and how can we act and interact with the world so each part is happy and is getting what they want.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's not easy task to do, and it's a lifetime of work, but I think it becomes so much more pleasurable
Mm.
task and positive negotiation instead of fight and war and like I need to overcome myself and I need to be strict and I need to be
Yeah.
um
Yeah. And it's a practice, right? Like it's not, I
it's
feel
a
like
practice,
all of
yeah.
that like work feels like so much in that very initial stage of like of facing that and of I suppose creating a practice or figuring out how am I going to do this, you know? How is this going to be something that I
Mm-hmm.
just actively do in my life to not get to this point again where I'm like, oh no, I have to
Yeah.
face this thing again. And I think it's just practice. But that gets easier. Like if you're just every day you're checking in or whatever as often as you need to
Mm-hmm.
and it's
Yeah,
just
it's
becomes
muscle again to be
integrated.
practiced. The same way
Yeah.
we practice for so many years to be hard on ourselves and to be strict. We just
Mm-hmm.
practice that. We were not born in that way.
Yeah, that's true.
Also, it's the practice of kindness.
Yeah. 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 Nice. That sounds like a
Um,
beautiful place to culminate our ideas there. Also because Zoom is like, hey, 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 you're
hey.
almost up. Um, yeah, but I love that. Like I think we came also to that kind of point of view, I think, together when we were talking about, you know, the way that women are treated in society and all of the stories they're told about what it is to be a woman and what you should do to be a woman and what a good
Mm-hmm.
woman is and what a bad woman is and why you should never do any of these things. And again, we practice those things based on what we're told, you know, from where, you know, this size,
Mm-hmm.
um,
Suppress,
it's all
suppress,
practice.
suppress.
Yeah, you know, you should be seen and not heard and oh, that's a little bit, you know, you're being a bit too loud. That's not very ladylike. And, you know, all of these things that you then, as you mentioned earlier, you start to kind of prune off of yourself, you know, oh,
Mm-hmm.
how can I do this again, but not in a way that, you know, is going to disturb somebody else or,
Mm-hmm.
you know, instead of saying, well, that's your problem if you don't like it, you know, I'm loud.
Yeah, and even opposite, I would like to add, then managing to like, okay, I'm releasing myself from that, and then usually we swing the pendulum to the opposite way. Okay, I'm a wild woman now, so I'm gonna suppress everything that is ladylike.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Again,
that's
you're
true.
doing the same
The
thing.
exact same thing. Yeah. True. And at the end of the day, you can't, you know, you can't put the blame on someone else. You know, I'm changing this because somebody else said this about me. No, you take it as you get defensive about something, right? It triggers something
Yeah,
like, oh, I have to make this change about myself. And we go about
yeah.
making those changes.
I think that's the biggest gift of free will, that we can choose who we want to be or who we
Mm.
want to become.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Which
So
bitch or goddess?
all three,
Or all three,
all part
exactly.
of the whole.
Exactly.
Thank you everyone for
Yes.
sharing this.
Thank you for being here. I think we are going to be ending quite soon. We have 1 minute left, but let's keep chatting and we'll be here next week talking about track number 6, which is
Urban Goddess.
Urban Goddess. Looking forward to it. Thanks so much and
Thank you.
have an
Bye
awesome
bye.
week. Bye.